Throughout the pandemic, we've been looking at what the data is telling us, whether lockdown is having an impact and whether the numbers are starting to peak. Let's have a look at where they are at the moment. This chart, you might remember it. It's a very depressing chart indeed, showing you the death toll in various different countries around the world. The steeper these lines, the faster it's growing. It's a logarithmic chart showing you representations of growth rates. Let's look at the UK in particular and get a sense of whether since March the 23rd there's been a change in this line. It's the crucial line that we're all looking at. And initially, after lockdown began, still the growth rate was that deaths were doubling every 3 days. And the implication was, if that growth rate had continued, you'd be seeing 40,000 people dead today of COVID-19, as opposed to what we now know, which is 12,868 deaths. So clearly, the line has flattened. In fact, the week after that, it was doubling every 4 days. So you can see a slight flattening. And if that continued, you would be seeing 20,000 people dead today of COVID-19 rather than 12,868 in hospitals, of course. So it's clear this line is coming down. And in the past week, it has been doubling every week. And the implication from that is if that continued, by the end of this week, it would still be below 20,000. So a lot better than the extrapolations from previous weeks, suggesting the line has come down. And if you look at other data as well, in particular data on cases, well, you can see here, this is each of these bars is how many new cases there have been each day. You can see the lockdown there as well. And it does look, doesn't it, as if this has started to flatten as well. Here's what the Chief Medical Officer says about that.
Our view is that it's probably reaching the peak overall, and that's what the flattening shows. So I think it's very important we don't get to the point where we say, look at the numbers of deaths, that means we've passed the peak.
So there is now some tentative optimism about what the data is telling us about COVID-19, including this, another data series showing you people in hospital with COVID-19. And you can see there, London, by far and away, the biggest of those lines. But just look at that. That's coming down as well. And so are other regions as well. So some hope, some glimmer of hope in the numbers at the moment. But everyone waiting for a few more days' data before we know for sure.